first of all, I'm really excited that we have the chance to come here as a closing of this anniversary celebration, because we started these concerts in April in Berlin at the Philharmonic Hall. We had many, many concerts in between, but it's fantastic to close it in Istanbul, also because although I have never been here before, but in my life, you know, at least two Turks have been of extreme importance to me. First of all, Dergisi Röportaj, without whom I would not be here, without whom I would not have the label, and of course Arif Mardin, who I adored and loved, and we did many things together. I would have done a lot more if I have, you know, but he didn't have that much time to dedicate to jazz. But for me to come here and have my final Act Jubilee night in Istanbul is just wow. Well, you see, for me, the one thing I never wanted to do is to try to become somebody who's discovering American jazz, because that has been done before, 100 years before I even started. And so my main interest was to find individual artists, not so much, you know, based on where they come from or so. Obviously, as I live in Munich, and as I used to live in Munich, now in Berlin, but as I live in Europe, my main interest was to work with the artists that I can find and that I can work with here. So that's how I started to work. First project, of course, was the Jazz Spania, which was partly written by Arif Mardin and Vince Mendoza. But from there, it was more and more European jazz. And when I met Esbjörn Svensson, whom I really only met because of Nils Landgren, so it kind of developed that I had more and more Swedish artists, but it was because of the artists. I also recorded Kutsi Ergüner, you know, with Nguyen Le. Nguyen Le was the very first exclusive artist on the ACT label. He's still with us. He was not able to come tonight, but he's part of the original show. So I don't really know that much about Turkish local jazz. You see, the only artist I really worked with was Kutsi. And I know there are a lot more. But you see, for me, I really have to know the artist. I have to be able to see them perform, to be able to see them, how they communicate with an audience. Because if an artist doesn't want to communicate with an audience, then there's nothing for me to do, you see. So the main thing is to see that the artist is really in a position to make people happy with the music they play and the music they produce. And that is only possible if I see them. So maybe I'm coming more often to Istanbul now. Maybe I will be able to hear a lot more from your own musicians. Well, you should have a rich father. Because, you know, the very first thing that Nesri said, you know, when he wanted to hire me to work with him for Warner, 1971. And I said to him, yeah, thank you for your kind offer, but I don't want to have a job. I want to start my own jazz label. And he said, Siggy, you know there is no money in jazz. So he convinced me to start working with him for Warner. We did it almost for 20 years. But then I said, now I want to fulfill my dream, and I started a jazz label. But you know, it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough world out there. If you want to be a jazz musician, you really have to dedicate your life to it. And you should not have any illusion that you can become rich. I mean, you know, Arif was a jazz musician, but obviously he didn't make his money with the jazz artists he recorded. He made the money with, you know, with the Bee Gees and Barbra Streisand and, you know, the Average White Band. And that's how you make money in music. But anyway, I love this music. And it's not just strictly jazz. I like the idea of the spirit of jazz. Music that has the spirit of jazz, has the spirit of freedom. That's why I like it.